What's up, boys and girls on YouTube? In this video, we're going to take a look at 2021 and talk about what we can expect from the Christian video game industry. We're going to list different titles coming out and just talk about the year as a whole and what we should look forward to. So I'm really excited. Let's dive straight into this video. But before we get started with 2021, let's do a quick recap, a rewind, shall I say, of 2020. So 2020 was a pretty slow year for Christian video games, but we did have a couple titles come out. So one of the first was Adam's Venture Origins. Now this game had previously been on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and Steam. Now you can also get it on Switch. Adam's Venture Origins is a game that really plays a lot like Uncharted that lets you play as a man named Adam on a search to find the lost Garden of Eden. Next up, we have a release of a new indie game called Logos. Logos is an action-adventure game that lets you play through several different Bible stories and likely will have new chapters released later. While this game is lacking graphically in some parts, it's still really impressive, especially considering this was done by a very small team. So, I give them kudos for what they did with this project. Next up, we have David vs. Goliath, which is honestly just a really cute, cartoony VR game that lets you play as David himself with his slingshot in hand as he goes to fight lions, tigers, bears, all sorts of animals, protect his sheep, and ultimately beat the bad guy Goliath himself. So those are the releases that we have for 2020. Now, let's take a look at 2021. What games do we have coming out and what can we expect? So let's take a look. So first up, we have Dreams and Nightmares. I'm gonna be a little bit biased saying that I'm excited about this title because, well, I'm actually part of the marketing team. Now, this is a game that's been put together by Christian Game Developers Conference. They have a lot going for them with this project. There are dozens of game developers working on this. They're regularly launching new releases, new versions of the projects with bug fixes and so forth. Now this is an action RPG game that plays in a lot of ways similar to Diablo. It focuses on 4 friends who begin to have these dreams paralleling those in the Bible. They have to play through these dreams where they will learn a variety of different Bible messages and ultimately unlocking messages that God is trying to give them. I'm honestly really excited about this title. The planned release is later this spring or early summer, but we'll keep you posted as we figure out what the actual release date of this project is. Next up, we have Eden Remains Arrival. This is one I'm absolutely stoked about. This is an FPS game that really just has a beautiful low poly style to it that just blows me away. In this game, you play as an elite trooper who begins to get distress signals from a planet named Eden. So you investigate the planet, but become stranded on it and begin to have to play a game of survival, fending off wild animals, gathering resources, and crafting items to be able to survive on this hostile planet and figure out what happened to the people that were inhabiting this planet. It really reminds me a lot of No Man's Sky in the way that it looks, but looks like it's gonna focus a lot heavier on combat. It's gonna hit Kickstarter this year, and when it does, we'll likely hear more info on what to expect from this project. So next up, we have the project 1 of 500. This is, out of the list, probably the most graphically impressive game. I wouldn't say quiet AAA, but it looks amazing. This is being developed by a Germany-centered development group and focuses on a young boy named Benjamin who plays through the gospel stories in a completely new perspective we've never seen before. It's going to be made over 6 different episodes, each from 2 to 3 hours in length, and it's going to have branching storylines, which will add a lot of variety in the gameplay every time that you play it. So this year, we're going to be seeing an alpha release. This game is going to hit Kickstarter this year, hoping to raise $200,000 to be able to be fully developed. It went for Kickstarter earlier this year. It wasn't able to raise the full amount, but you better bet after looking at this project that when it goes to Kickstarter again, now that I know about it, I'm going to be there lined up to fork out a couple dollars. Next up, we have Heroes 2. This is a sequel to a successful 2013 mobile game that lets you play as numerous Bible characters inside of a fun quiz atmosphere. And this game seeks to vamp up everything that the original game was and more. It's really cool because it lets you unlock different Bible characters, answering quiz questions about them as you progress through the game. The graphics look really cute, look really well developed, and I honestly think this is going to be one of the better mobile games that Christians have developed. What makes it really cool is that this game is full of quiz effects that are based on Bible characters that add fun twists to the gameplay. It makes it more than a boring game where you just answer questions about Bible characters. It's currently under pre-registration, but we will soon very likely have a full release of this game. And next up, as the final game in the list, some of you are gonna hate me for listing this, but as it is on the topic of Christian video games, I felt like I should talk about it. We have a lined up release date this year for I Am Jesus Christ. Now this took the internet by storm when the trailer was first released, and it's very controversial for a number of different reasons. So this is a VR game that lets you play as Jesus Christ himself, performing numerous miracles. Now, I'm skeptical of this. I don't know if the developers are actually going to be serious in how they approach the gospel. This really just strikes me as the development team is trying to come up with a zillion different types of games and hope that one of them hits an audience. But I am curious to see how this turns out. It is controversial for a number of different reasons, obviously because you're playing as Jesus Christ himself, and because the game seems to have a mechanic where as Jesus performs miracles, he runs out of some form of stamina, which would almost seem to indicate that he runs out of miracle working power, which obviously I can see why that would upset some people, including myself. So with all of those games listed, my overall thoughts for 2021, I'm really not expecting a whole lot for this year. Now, I could be wrong because of, you know, what happened last year. A lot of developers and filmmakers included postponed a lot of releases on their projects until this year, hoping that they can get more of an audience in 2021. So because of this, it's possible we may get a good number of releases this year. It's just hard to say. So I'm not expecting much. I hope that I'm wrong. Now with that stated, I'm really excited about Dreams and Nightmares. I think with the organizational structure that the game has and the leadership team that they developed, I think if they follow the kind of structure that they have, then we have a formula, I believe, for success. So I'm going to be following it closely, especially because I'm part of the marketing team, but I'm going to be following it closely, and I'm hoping with a project like that, it will really indicate a turn in tides for Christian video games. So thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I am super eager to hear what your thoughts are about the games that I've talked about. So with that, I'm out.